Hey, Brian.
What's up, man?
So glad to be with you again. I really enjoy our conversations and so glad to be back here with you. And last time we were here, we met and we discussed the hidden causes of joint pain, why people have chronic joint pain, arthritis, things like that. And we covered so much ground. It was a fantastic conversation. For those of you listening, if you didn't check out that episode already, I encourage you to watch that and then come back to this one. But so my thinking is today that we'd kind of now dive into the solutions, right? So first we addressed why people have pain, and now it's like, how do you get rid of it? How do you address those causes?
I think it's important for our listeners, please go back and understand. Everyone always asks that question, why?
Right.
So it's good to look at all the resources that are possible causing your pain and now diving into what's next.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do it. Let's get
dive
into it. I do remember, I remember much of our conversation. It was really impactful and enjoyable. And one of the things that we talked about in that discussion was the importance of making a commitment, right? So one of the reasons people struggle to accomplish anything in life, including getting rid of pain, right, is they are not fully committed to the plan. They're not fully committed to the goal and the action and maybe the discipline that's required to get there. What's your thoughts on that? And how do you see that? You've worked with many patients over the years as a doctor of chiropractic care.
And also, in addition, I hope that all of our listeners know this, that I'm my own human experiment.
Right.
I want to live till 120, and what I'm doing now at 50 and what I started doing in my 30s is impacting me now in my 50s and now as I continue. So it comes back to a philosophy that I've learned, be, do, have. And many of us start with, what do we need to do in order to have something, right? I want to have a healthy life. I want to have a lifespan of 120 years. However, what the component is that we miss is, who do you need to be before knowing what to do so that you can have what you want? So I look at that part of that beingness, like beingness is like, am I a patient person? Am I patience?
Right.
And in the light of what we're talking about, commitment. Like, what is my commitment to? And you have to, it takes some self-introspection to say, am I really committed to this? Like, can I go to a restaurant? Am I afraid to ask the waiter to say, no, I don't want the white potatoes.
Right.
And I don't want the sauce on my salmon, although that's what the chef suggests. I'm committed to my health over the presentation of your meal. Yeah, so I think there's commitment. I couldn't agree more that it's number one. Drinking healthy water. Like, no, I'm not going to. I'd rather drive to get healthier water than drink out of the sink. Right. Thank God we have running water, but.
Right. I like the way you put that. And it seems essential if you're not, and I see this often, it's like people, they want the result, but they're not willing to do, and I don't want to say the work, some of it is work, but they're just not willing to make the commitment to do the steps that are necessary.
Yeah.
So that's essential. So like if you're serious about getting rid of your pain, you've got to make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to do what it takes to resolve this problem once and for all.
I heard something recently where someone said, when you're healthy, you have a million problems. When you're unhealthy, you only have one. So that's fantastic. Yeah. And it's like, all right, that's where my level and where I suggest my clients and patients' level of commitment needs to be. Like, how committed am I to making sure that I have a million problems versus just one problem to spend all of my resources and all of my time. Whereas now I can make it a part of everyday life. And that's also a piece of commitment as well, like commitment to longevity and well-being. It's an every minute by minute process. How am I responding to the food that I'm eating, or what food choices am I making? What supplement choices am I making? What relationship choices am I making? What internal dialogue choices am I committed to making? It takes courage.
Courage. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So courage and commitment.
Yes.
Do you have the courage to do do what's required, even if it's unfamiliar, uncomfortable, challenging? I really like that thing you said about the one problem versus the million problems, though I would encourage everybody to have as few problems as is possible.
Agreed.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, the point totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think words are important. I think we spoke about that last time. And if you think, I've got a million problems, well, then you've got a million problems.
Yes, you do. True.
Beyond the commitment, it seems that having a minimum level of, I'm going to use the word understanding. Mm-hmm. Some people might say knowledge or wisdom is needed to solve a problem, right? So I'll use a everyday analogy. My car breaks down and I'm going to try to fix it myself. If I don't have sufficient knowledge of the engine, let's say, my ability to solve that problem is, drastically limited, right? I'm probably not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So most people have such limited understanding of their bodies and how their bodies and beings work, right? And so listening to shows like this, listening to that last show, understanding how the body gets out of balance in all those different ways, to identify and understand those causes is essential. It's one thing if you make the commitment, now you have to get knowledge and information to help yourself solve the problem. And I know we touched on this last time as well, but you have to take your health into your own hands.
Yeah.
Is what I'm kind of getting at.
Well, first, because it's like when I go to the doctor, I'm blaming them for being sick.
Right.
Versus, no, what did I just eat for the last 25 years?
Exactly.
And I love that self-responsibility. I think understanding we're in the right time. We've got AI, we've got, the web that has every piece of health information out there. It just gets very overwhelming and confusing. But there are basic physiological mechanisms that we all have. One of them coming down to inflammation is bad for everything.
Right.
So like trying to break it down into the simplest understanding, and we could do just a talk on the understanding beyond the anatomy and physiology. I always have to take a step back because I've spent my entire career studying this and I still study it.
Right.
So those of our listeners out there, they may not take as much interest in the physiology or anatomy and things. However, the simple facts of inflammation and hydration and movement, trying to make it as easy as possible, like move as much as you can.
Right.
Movement is essential. Exercise is optional.
Yeah.
Hydration is critical. Inflammation is bad.
Yeah, we'll talk more about these things in detail, in today's conversation. But I think one of the ways that we can, get the information that's needed is, again, through conversations like this. So people, listening to this, and I would encourage people to find a guide.
Yes.
Right. Find a person that you feel like is trustable and gives you reliably good information to help lead you along that path to healing. Right. And that's what you and I have been both doing for, 20 plus
decades,
years. And
and it's cool because there's so many quote unquote guides out there now that you're not going to jive with everybody.
Right.
So it's good to be able to explore and find the right person that fits with you.
Let's talk a little bit about, just briefly, because I know we covered this a lot in detail last time, how important it is to pay attention, and have awareness. You mentioned a few examples of it. Being aware of whether you're drinking clean water versus bad water, right? Being aware of what you have on your plate. What am I eating? What's the quality of it? Is it riddled with GMO and all sorts of pesticides and chemicals, or is it natural and clean and organic? So I just wanted to emphasize that again, bring that back from our prior conversation, the importance of paying attention to all that matters, and all matters, right? Everything matters, right?
Yes, it does.
the air, the food, the water, the breath.
I was going to say the internal sense.
Exactly.
Especially for us men, we've been told that it's not good to feel. And I think that's one of the first steps to living a healthier life, because in my opinion, integration is the ultimate goal to improving our lives, meaning that like I can integrate, I'll give you an example, anger versus screaming or having to let it out and punch something or someone or scream at someone or hurt myself and hurt someone else. Like feel it and integrate it. But it's taken years to learn how to process that. So I think that's an element of awareness. But again, these things stack on each other, which is great, which is what we're talking about, because without awareness, without commitment first, you're just blindly facing your health choices versus, being committed, then being aware.
Something that I've discovered is one of the biggest energy wasters, and one of the biggest reasons most people don't have sufficient energy is they are on a constant emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
So they don't know how to maintain a healthy emotional state.
Regulation.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I just want to put a little bookmark there, and we'll come back to that later.
Definitely.
Because I personally have experienced, as I think I've told you in other conversations, including offline, I've had like huge increases in my energy. Even though I've been getting older, I've got more energy now than when I was younger.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is I'm not on an emotional, energetic roller coaster like I used to be when I was younger.
And I know we'll go back to it, but it takes oxygen, and you don't. But it's not like when you're running and you feel the oxygen deplete. But all those emotional roller coasters, when I'm all the way up here, all the way down there, that takes resources.
Right.
And it's
energy. Yeah. The next point I wanted to kind of bring up and get your perspective on is what I call the foundation for healing. Right. And what I mean by that is, again, you want to solve a problem. Let's say that you're going to repair a house, right? And let's say that the foundation has shifted and it's cracked, and you can keep fixing the walls, right? But unless you address the foundation, you're not really solving the problem, right?
Yeah.
Not in a lasting way.
Right.
And so it seems to me like people need to be aware of what is, again, like I said, the understanding, what is essential for healing, right? So if I've got knee pain, neck pain, back pain, whatever it is, I've got pain in my body, obviously it's a sign that things are not in balance, right? So how do I create a foundation so that I can actually effectively solve this problem? So some examples of that might be a healthy emotional state, the effect that the mind and emotions have on the physical body, right? Most people have very siloed perspectives on their physicality, right? My knee hurts, something's wrong with my knee.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Instead of, my knee hurts, and there could be 72 different reasons why my knee hurts.
Right.
And one of the biggest ones could be the stress and emotions that I am feeling, which might even be the result of how I'm thinking, right? I'm having negative thoughts, which create negative emotions, negative emotional reactions, which creates stress, anxiety, tension. Not only is it using up energy, but it's creating inflammation in the body, restricting blood flow. So I think just want to emphasize maybe the mind-body. Again, everybody says it, mind-body, but what does it really fucking mean?
Yeah, it's a hard concept because it's been enculturated in us to think about things in categories.
Right.
Even when I studied in school, it was like you study the anatomy, you study the neuroanatomy, you study the bones, you study the organs.
All separate.
And none of them function alone. It's what's really cool is if you tie in like systems thinking and systems theory, which is you break that into like quantum physics and mathematics, the system functions way larger than the whole. I use the example of Voltron for our older listeners. I don't remember Voltron.
Was it like a transformer? Or something?
He's like he was that big robot, but he had 4 little lion robots.
Okay.
So the 4 little lion robots were not able to function as well as one giant robot. But let me take it. That's just some comedic relief here. To a carpenter, everything is a hammer and a nail.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest cultural pieces of our organization and what we've been teaching for so long is that there are so many perspectives, and it's you have to say, okay, I'm willing to put down my hammer and I now need to pick up a saw, or I may need to pick up a bucket of water, whatever it is. There's a different solution around these issues, and it all does come down to homeostasis, things being in balance. Like where they can, and it's really like, that's even what heart rate variability is, right? Can my heart rate get real high or real low? But how fast can I return to a balanced, harmonious state? Yeah,
I love that you brought it back there. I know we spoke about that last time, how important really the nature of life is harmony. Yeah. And I remember we spoke about it, I think at length, but I'm glad you brought it back because it's really important. Harmony, balance, right? So if you've got dysfunction in your body, your joints are hurting, you've got to figure out where there's a lack of balance. And once you've identified that, work to bring more balance to those areas.
I'm going to bring it back even to integration more because I just love this concept so I always use the concept of an orchestra, right? So the best orchestra that you get to see is in what? In harmony.
Oh, in harmony. Yeah. I was going to say the Philharmonic.
Yes. Well, it's in Austin. No. But it's in harmonies when you feel the most joy or when you get the most out of that music. It's because each musician or instrument is integrated. Like it's not too much on one. And so it's really, these distinct parts can be linked together, just like physiology can be linked with psychology, which can be linked with spirituality, which can be linked with biology, and they're all one.
Right, all part of your being.
Yeah.
Also, you had mentioned the hammer versus the screwdriver versus the bucket. I wanted to bring it back to that too and emphasize that. I know you and I've talked about this a lot, but I feel it's worth emphasizing here. You've got to identify what's the right tool for the job.
Yes.
Right. So, and the job meaning healing your body, eliminating your pain and coming back to harmonious health requires multiple tools, right? There's never one cause. Again, if I've got knee pain, I think it's physically impossible for there to be one cause, one sole thing.
Agreed.
Right. There might be one primary, but there's other factors, right? So there's always multiple causes, and every cause requires a different solution. So again, if there's a nail that needs to be hammered in, you need a hammer, but there's also a screw over here that needs a screw, and then this thing needs a blow dryer or whatever.
Yeah, and a better foundation,
exactly.
Or a better roof. And
right.
Yeah.
We mentioned mind already a little bit before, like your state of being. Maybe let's talk a little bit more about that. Because
this is one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I feel like people view their body as this physical thing and not this being that is part physical, part emotional, part energetic. I think people just severely underestimate the effect that their state of being, their psychological and emotional state has on everything. Like, and we talked about this last time, but your vibration, like you and I were all literally vibrating all the time.
Yeah.
And in fact, it just reminded me of epigenetics, right? So people have this belief where, I have it in my DNA. I have the such and such gene.
Like it's fixed.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
When we know that that's not the case, right? It's flexible, it's changeable, right? And it's based on so many things, right? And when I say, I'm going to say environment, I don't mean just your physical environment.
Yeah.
It's your entire environment. The environment in here, the environment in here, right? The air, the water, the food, the thoughts, the people. It's an empowering thing. And once you become aware of that, it's like, I'm not predestined to have a heart attack just because several family members did, right? It means that's a possibility.
Yes.
But if I vibrate and live my life in a different way, I can drastically reduce that potential likelihood.
And that's already been proven.
Right.
It's just not, we're still learning outdated. Sorry, listeners.
Right.
The things that your doctors have learned, because I'm one of them, it's all outdated. The biology we're learning, and I'll break this down real simple because most people have learned basic biology, right? And we learned that the nucleus of the cell, right, was the brain of the cell.
Right.
It's actually what just houses the DNA.
Right.
The brain of the cell has the word brain in it. It's the membrane. It's what interacts with its environment and allows the genetics to be expressed or not. And that's what epigenetics mean. Epi's around, genetics is the expression of whatever coding is in there. So to lean on your example, like if I have a gene for some type of cancer, if I have a family history of genetic lung cancer or something like that, and I put myself in those environments, I'm going to express those genes.
Right.
And there's so much research out there now that looks at the expression of genes based on relationship or inflammation and environment. So it all becomes a component. There's one piece, if I can take the mic for a sec.
Yeah, go for it.
I've adopted a new definition and even a whole concept of mind, since we're on mind. And the way that I learned about the mind, and I ask all of my students or people that I work with, is like, where is the mind? And most people, where do they point? Right here.
Right.
Into the skull encased brain.
Right.
The brain is an organ and it's a tool. I look at the mind as a verb or a process, and it's allowed me to change my whole outset for healthcare and how I take care of myself. So the definition I use is a embodied and relational process that regulates information and energy. So what information do I get from my body, my organs, my musculoskeletal system, my internal environment? What information do I get from relationships, my relationship to the environment, my relationships in my life, my relationship to myself? And then how am I using that to regulate energy and information within my body.
Right. Yeah.
So break down simple. It's like mind is a verb, which is a crazy concept, but to put that into perspective, everything relates to everything.
Right. Yeah. I heard somebody say, like awareness, consciousness awareness, feels like it comes from here, but it's really everywhere.
Yes.
So kind of to your point, it's the same thing. And that even the thoughts that we have in our minds, not all of them come from this brain.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they can be coming from all sorts of other places.
Well, especially with advertising and the way that things are, like, things go in our minds unconsciously now too.
Yeah.
But yes, it can be completely out there as well.
Yeah. So let's talk more about the foundation, right? So you have to have a healthy state of mind and body, right? We'll talk about the physical things in a minute. One thing that I think is really important, mentioned how people waste so much energy with their emotional roller coaster because they don't have the capacity yet. They haven't cultivated the ability to emotionally regulate themselves. In order to heal, you have to have enough energy.
Yes.
Right? Like, so energy is essential, right?
Yeah.
So many people are trying to heal themselves, but they're fucking chronically exhausted.
Yes.
Right? They don't get enough sleep. They don't know how to rest. They don't know how to relax. They're constantly wasting energy, right? In all sorts of different ways. They're emotional roller coasters. They're stressed. They're constantly holding tension in their body. They're constantly distracting themselves. They're on the hamster wheel of life, right? So all these ways that we are burning fuel, if you will.
Yeah.
But that fuel needs to be used in a constructive way to reconstruct.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like it seems so common sense, but I don't really hear people talking about that. They're talking about, you got to do the stretches, you got to do the exercises, or even you got to fix the mind. Again, all those things are right. But if you don't have enough energy.
Yeah, the raw material.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's always my favorite. And that raw material, right? So so there you go. One of the building blocks, raw materials, has to be enough energy for your body to put that energy towards repair.
All right, so then how do we get more energy?
So obviously sleep, right?
I think that's one of the most overlooked pieces of healthcare.
Do you get enough quality sleep?
Overlooked, whichever it is. People are not paying, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Right. Oh, yeah.
No, you're going to die.
Or the grind culture. It's like, 5 a.m. is not early enough. 4 a.m., bro.
Yeah, I'm doing 2:43 a.m. That's my time.
Right.
Yeah. So,
no.
And some people that can work for, but I mean, it increases your cravings for sugar. So it messes with your blood sugar levels. Obviously, energy depletion, your ability to think clearly. They've done studies on athletes, like college athletes. I read something recently where a high-level performing basketball team, they made them sleep like they were getting like 4 or 5, 6 hours of sleep, especially college kids, right? But they required them to get 8 hours of sleep, and their performance numbers skyrocketed.
Right. And you mentioned the early risers. Some people can do that. I think they actually did a study and shows that they can't. So they think they can do it, but when they tracked them through this study, that they had all sorts of negative consequences.
Yeah.
Right. That they just psychologically were not either paying attention to or willing to acknowledge that.
It comes down to like circadian rhythms and the circadian rhythms of the seasons and circadian rhythm of the day. The closer we can get our daily routines to a circadian rhythm, the healthier our bodies are in tune with our relationship with the environment and the planet we live on. It's not this separate. We're not separate from the planet.
Right.
We are all part of it, and it affects how we operate.
Harmony.
Yes.
Like you said, so living in harmony with the natural order of things, right? The place we live, this physical earth realm, is it has some universal principles, and people, humanity, for the most part, is living so counter to nature, and we're paying the price for it in so many ways.
Well, I know you have a dog, and for those of you listeners who have dogs, they tell you when it's time to go to bed.
Right.
When they want to go to bed, they don't care about you. They're like, dude, sun is down. Like, I want to go to bed, and they're up early. So it's
prime, because they're in touch with that primal natural instinct.
Yes.
More than most humans. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to have enough energy for healing. You got to be getting good, deep quality sleep.
Yes.
I recently got this Oura Ring, which has helped me to kind of track my sleep. And I discovered I wasn't getting as much deep sleep as I thought, even though I was in bed for a long time.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
38 minutes of deep sleep.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. No wonder I'm still tired after 9 hours in bed. And I'm asleep, but not sleeping deeply.
In the restful sleep. Yeah.
So the sleep obviously essential. You mentioned water several times early in the conversation, how important it is. I don't know if this is true, but everybody always says we're 70, 80% water, right? We know it's something like that, but water is essential. And I think lots of people are chronically dehydrated.
Yeah.
Drinking coffee, coffee drinkers. But we could talk about that for a long time.
I like high level points. Electrolytes are critical.
Yeah.
And not the highly sugared, highly advertised electrolyte drinks.
Which I don't even want to name that shitty brand names.
No,
but
I'm not going to name it either. But but that becomes important because when you sweat out your electrolytes are as simple as the minerals, salts, things that you have in your body naturally. Like our blood is like seawater.
Right.
It's very similar. Like you go into the ocean, you can taste the electrolytes. You wouldn't want to drink that because that's too much,
right?
Yeah.
But you can just add a pinch of Himalayan sea salt or Celtic sea salt into your water.
Yep. For myself, I've developed a habit, like first thing that I do in the morning is alkaline water with electrolytes in it.
I drink about this much first thing, within like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Rehydrate. Because I realized what I was doing is I wasn't drinking enough early in the day. Mm-hmm. I was trying to make up for not drinking enough early in the day, late in the day. And then it was affecting my sleep. Right? Getting up, going to the bathroom 1, 2, 3 times a night. So drink enough water, drink it early in the day. Don't drink it during meals, especially don't drink cold, icy drinks during meals.
Yep.
Right? People, I'm drinking my ice water. Yeah, well, now you're not digesting your meal.
Correct.
Right.
And maybe putting your system in shock.
Exactly.
And on that point of there was something I used to say to my patients all the time, like when you go to sleep, it's like putting a pair of pants in the dryer, like where people would feel you get dehydrated when you're sleeping. You use the hydration that you have from that day that you're not excreting to hydrate your tissues.
And repair and regenerate.
Yeah. But, then you're out of it, right? So if you're not hydrated enough, that's why a lot of people are waking up with pain.
Right.
It can be, again, a multimodal reasons, but many times it is hydration.
Right.
Or lack thereof.
Foundational things that you need to do. You mentioned earlier, inflammation.
Yes.
Right. Causes so many problems, and there's many causes of it. In your experience, what do you think are some of the biggest reasons for inflammation? And then we can kind of talk a little bit more about how to deal with it.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Number one.
Right.
Because it's in everything. The scariest thing is it's how much of our liquids, and not even liquids, like I just want our listeners, I want you to know out there that there are so many words disguised for sugar in today's food products.
Oh, yeah.
So the best food products you have the least amount of ingredients.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. If I even go to Whole Foods, right? And I buy, I'm not going to name the brand.
Right.
I buy the brand, the common brand there, and almonds have canola oil in them. I'm like,
well, that's weird.
What? Mm-hmm. Come on. Yeah. Now I got to buy the more expensive, like organic ones, because the only ingredients in there is almonds.
Right.
In a bag of almonds, all I'm expecting is almonds.
Right.
Negative thoughts, chronic repetitive thoughts, they create inflammation. Food, alcohol. Mm-hmm. I think alcohol is like your number one inflammatory agent that can be eliminated. It's not easy to eliminate for a lot of people. It's because it's such a common thing.
A couple others that come to mind for me, and again, we won't spend too much time on this because that last episode, the causes of joint pain, we covered these more in depth, but environmental factors, bad air, dirty water, chemicals in your food, chemicals on your clothes, chemicals on your furniture, chemicals in your car.
Skin products.
Right. What do you feel the best ways for people to kind of reduce the inflammation besides limiting all those things we just talked about? Like,
I think one of the biggest irritants is food, because, your gut-brain axis, meaning like my gut is in Chinese medicine, it's the first brain.
Right.
Right. And you have more serotonin and more opportunities to have foods or things that you're allergic to enter through the gut and create more inflammatory response or autoimmune conditions as well. So I think one of the best things is to figure out what food allergies that you have and eliminate those things. And in general, eliminate pro-inflammatory foods and put more anti-inflammatory foods in your diet.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to go back to something you said a moment ago about the gut health, the microbiome, because we were talking about, the building blocks that are needed for healing. Energy is one. Well, where do we get energy, right? Some of our energy, a good amount of it comes from our food, right? Well, in order to get the energy from the food, we have to be able to digest it properly.
Yeah.
Right. And most people, including myself, don't have proper optimal digestion. Right. So you could be eating clean, healthy, organic food and still not getting the nutrients from it, and still be deficient, and still, limit your healing because you're not getting what's needed from the food. And so, again, research is showing that more and more how important the gut health is. So I would say really paying attention. We've talked a lot about attention and awareness, but putting attention on your body and noticing, how does my body respond to each and every food that I eat, right? Do I have indigestion when I eat this, right?
Or do I feel depressed?
Yeah. Do I feel energized? Do I feel exhausted and fatigued? And so paying attention to the foods, and maybe do some gut health tests. Like I've done a bunch of that. I've been doing a 6-month gut rebuilding program to get my gut in a healthier place so that I can get more energy from the food that I'm eating.
Yeah.
So that I can be healthier and I can, heal what needs to be healed.
I think probiotics are important to talk about because antibiotics are so commonplace.
Right.
Same with even when you go under anesthesia, or when you go under a dose of antibiotics, you may need it. You may have some kind of infection that you have to take an antibiotic, but it kills all of the bacteria. And we're required to have bacteria. We live symbiotically with bacteria in our gut because it helps us digest food and then assimilate it. So once you do go through antibiotics or get anesthesia from a surgical procedure, taking a probiotic thereafter to help rebuild that gut microbiome.
Yeah, and I would even say avoid the antibiotics if you can, because
if you can,
yeah, people are often told that, oh no, you have to take them. It's not true. There's so many natural antibacterial and antiviral foods and herbs and supplements that you can take that can do the same job. Maybe not as strong, right? But again, they'll do it in such a way where it doesn't kill the good stuff, right?
Well, I think we're going to jump on this too, because someone just came to me with like fasting and an elimination diet. And an elimination diet basically is like you fast for a period of time and then add foods back slowly is another way to see how you react to foods. Because right now your body's all filled with the foods you're consistently eating. But if you fast, it gives yourself time for the cells to die off and you can get re-energized. Although it is challenging, it's a spiritual challenge because every religion has fasting involved with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the best solutions since we are talking about solutions.
No, it's such a great one, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. I had forgotten about it. People often tend to be a little afraid of it. It sounds like, oh my God, go a whole day without food. How could I possibly? It's actually not that hard. Once you do it, once you try it, and you can start small. You could be like, all right, I'm going to go half a day without food. Yeah. Right? I'm just going to skip dinner this one night and see how I feel. And then the next time you try it, I'm going to skip lunch and dinner.
It's funny
have one meal.
What you find out. I would also suggest listeners, if you're afraid of fasting, find a friend, find a fasting buddy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Accountability buddy.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just do it. Just try it. I did 3 days as part of a 2-week survival training in the wilderness. And after the initial hunger pains, and this is hiking 8 hours a day with no food for 3 days.
Yeah.
After the initial kind of pangs of hunger come and go, eventually they go, and then you don't feel hungry.
Yep.
And it's such an important, again, you mentioned religions have had it and been talking about it and doing it for hundreds or thousands of years.
Yeah.
There's a reason, right?
Yep.
It's an essential way to reset your body. So if you haven't done it, hopefully you've heard people talking about it, you got to experiment with it.
And it'll get you into a forceful space to sleep more. Because if you are going to fast, you're trying to do it during your normal work day, that's a little more challenging. But if you can clear out a weekend, a lot of times it like when I've fasted before, it's like, oh yeah, taking a nap is okay. And I'm not a napper.
Right.
During my fast, I was able to actually rest.
Yeah, you can even combine. Right. So then you're getting 2 benefits: resetting your body through fasting and resting and relaxing.
Yes.
Yeah. And just personally, the way I do it is I usually do 1 day a week where I'll do 1 meal that day, right? So I'll have a breakfast or a brunch on the weekend, and then I won't eat the rest of the day.
Love that.
And then now I'm trying to do 2 full days a month. So 1 day a week, most of the day without food, and then once a month do 2. a whole day or even like 2 whole days.
Love it.
One of the things that fasting helps you do is detox, right? So it gives the body an opportunity to expel and remove and eliminate toxins and things that are causing inflammation and maybe preventing you from healing or limiting your healing. In addition to fasting, there's different types of detox programs that you could do, herbs and so on. Not that we have to go deep into it, but I think it's another important thing to mention. In particular, the lymphatic system, right? Most people aren't aware of the lymphatic system. They don't understand really how it works. And if I remember correctly, it's the only system in the body that doesn't have an organ that serves as a pump for it.
It pumps itself. Well, movement is its pump.
Exactly.
Yes.
But so like the blood is pumped by the heart, right? And so on. Air pumped via the lungs. Lymph does not have an organ, right? So you've got your lymph nodes, but there's no pump. And so, as Brian, you just mentioned, the movement is essential, and we're so not active.
Yeah.
And we are meant to be active. Like we're meant to be moving.
We're meant to walk.
Yeah, at least for me, I think like 50 to 60% of the day, we should be doing something with our body.
Yes.
And instead, it's like maybe an hour a day. If people even exercise an hour or 2 a day, they're active. But then there's a whole lot of people who aren't even doing that.
Makes me think of the movie WALL-E. Did you see that with your kids?
No, I don't remember that one.
Oh,
is that the computer?
It was with the little robots, but the human aspect is like we let ourselves go. Like the story, like humans are in space, but they let themselves go so much. They all became obese.
Big old blobs.
And they live their lives in these reclining chairs.
Right.
And when they get up to try and walk, they can't walk.
Right.
And it's like the robots taking over.
Yeah. So. I mean, and some people are literally that far. For those humans who are not that far, but you're somewhere in the middle, right?
Start moving now.
Yes, you gotta be moving. Like, I mean, I think you know this about me, but I personally make everything as hard as it can be.
Yes.
Right. So like when I'm moving through the airport, I don't ever walk on the escalator, the moving walk.
Today, flying here or the other day, even on the way down the steps, both escalators were filled.
Right. Nobody on the stairs.
I'm the only person on the steps.
Exactly.
I don't care if I have to carry my bag.
Right.
It takes longer.
Got to move your body. And so stop looking for ways to make life easier, because easy becomes weak.
Take the steps if it's not the 18th floor.
Right.
If it's the second or third floor, take the steps.
Or if it is, I used to live here downtown Austin on the 33rd floor in a high rise.
You walked it?
That's, every day for my workout. I would run down and up the steps, right?
That's awesome.
So in like 5 minutes, I would get this incredible workout, 33 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's taking the elevator. Like, why? It doesn't have to be that extreme. It could be simple things. When you put your shoes on, squat down. If you can, squat down on the floor and tie your shoe.
Versus bending.
Sitting. People sit in a chair to put their shoe on.
Yeah.
Right? You're training your body to not be able to move. Right?
Well, that's one of the biggest fears for people as they get older. And that's one of the best tests.
But they're creating it and they don't even realize it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and for those of you out there, like getting up and down off the floor, not just about leg strength, about mobility. That's a great test for what your health factor is. Can you get up and down off the floor? Because that's one of the biggest injuries that elderly people experience is falling. Yeah. They lose their balance for one reason or another.
You mentioned walking. So I just want to say walking is one of the best things we could do. It's easy. You could do it anywhere. There's no excuses.
Yeah.
Of course, there's lots of ways you can move your body. It could be a bicycle. It could be tennis. It could be, gardening, whatever. Just key is get active and move that body.
Way more important than exercise, because I find that a lot of people that I've talked to they're hesitant to move because they think it has to be some kind of defined exercise in front of other people in the right gear.
Right.
But movement is essential. Right.
I want to talk about some of the things that you could do internally. You mentioned earlier avoiding foods that are pro-inflammatory, that cause inflammation. But there's also foods you can eat that reduce inflammation, right? So food is medicine. Hopefully people have heard that, and it's true. And so every food serves a purpose, right? And so there's lots of different types of foods that you can eat that can actually help reduce inflammation. Some examples would be fruits that are high in enzymes, proteolytic enzymes. We've talked about those a lot. But so papaya, pineapple, things like that. Vegetables, right? Certain vegetables. The enzymes, maybe we talk a little bit more about that. Proteolytic systemic enzymes are produced by your pancreas, enzymes are essential for life, right? We cannot actually have life without enzymes. So they're really important. They're produced, some of them are produced by the body, but as we age, the production of these enzymes, as you know, decreases. And so when you're trying to heal, if you have constant inflammation, right, it's sort of like if I have a scab that's trying to heal, but I keep picking the scab off when it's halfway healed.
Never going to heal.
Right. That's sort of the way inflammation is, right? Yeah. The inflammation is constantly there, eating away at, or picking away at your wound, if you will. And so it's really important that you do all that you can to reduce inflammation. Proteolytic enzymes, in my belief, are the most important thing that you can do. They seem to be most effective. They also, as you know, eat fibrin, right? And so fibrin is a substance that your body produces to form a scab, right? You cut yourself, you form a scab, but fibrin often is overproduced because the enzymes decrease. So as the enzymes decrease, the body produces too much fibrin. There's not enough enzyme to regulate the fibrin level.
Which is what gets us stiffer and less mobile as we age.
Exactly. Yeah. So, as we're getting older, one, you can eat as much, high enzyme food as you can. But I think they even did research that said, you could eat like 85 pineapples and it still wouldn't be enough.
You're not getting enough concentrated dosages of it.
So you need to supplement, especially if you're over like 30.
Yeah.
The older you are, the more you need to supplement. You want to, though, I'm obviously pro-supplement, but my thinking is this, you want to support your body's own production of these enzymes, right? So by having a healthy body and a healthy pancreas helps you produce as much enzyme as you can, right?
And that's critical from managing your blood sugar.
Right, yeah. But so most people want to just, I need the pill, right? Yeah, the pill can help. But take care of your pancreas, right?
Yeah.
By taking care of your whole body.
Yeah.
And then also supplement. Fibrin is the building block of plaque, right? And so when there's an overproduction of fibrin, you have the very high likelihood for an overproduction of plaque, right? And what is plaque? Plaque is what causes heart disease, right? It's not cholesterol, right? Plaque is made up by 65% fibrin, right? And I forget if it's like 10 or 20% cholesterol, right? But cholesterol has been vilified, right?
Yes.
Again, it's another misunderstanding in health, right?
I don't know, it's an intentional,
right.
An intentional understanding.
Maybe that's definitely part of it too. Yeah. So that's a very good point.
Because there's, there's other people who there's certain outfits that benefit from
cholesterol lowering drugs.
Correct.
That's a very true point. But the point, I think the important thing here is to know is like cholesterol is not bad. In fact, low cholesterol causes strokes.
Yes.
Right? Your brain needs cholesterol to be healthy.
Yeah.
They want you to have low cholesterol because it makes them billions of dollars and it makes you dumb. Right? And
so you're more susceptible to listen to ideas.
It makes you dumb and controllable.
Yes.
And I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory or something like that, but it's absolutely legit. It's true. Do your own research and you'll see cholesterol is essential for a healthy brain.
Yeah.
And people who have low cholesterol have the most strokes.
Yeah.
But also coming back to the fibrin and the plaque production, heart disease, right? So what do they do with people high blood pressure? Put them on
cholesterol lowering agents.
High blood pressure medications. And it's not necessary. These enzymes are what keep your blood thin and clean and healthy, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you don't have thin, clean, healthy blood, you have less oxygen flowing throughout your body.
Sludge.
Yes, exactly. Sludge blood, right? So these enzymes are essential. It's not just about helping your joints. We help a lot of people with pain, and so there's a lot of talk about joints. But I want people to understand this is not just a joint issue.
Well, that's why we keep talking about systemic enzyme therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
So an example, I've got our product here, Heal and Soothe. It is a systemic proteolytic enzyme, and we've been selling it for a really long time. I don't even remember exactly how long now, probably 15 years maybe. It's a fantastic product. I highly recommend you check it out. Again, it's not just for helping you to improve and heal your joints, but it improves and helps the whole body heal.
Well, it's packed with herbs as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not just proteolytic enzymes.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I didn't mention that.
Boswellia extract, or the yucca root,
ginger.
Yes. Yeah. So all the things that are compiled to decrease inflammation.
Exactly.
And get the blood working more efficiently and oxygenated.
Clean, oxygen-rich blood is essential for healing, right? It's one of those building block materials. You have to have energy for healing. You have to be hydrated because we're mostly water. And you have to have blood that's moving with oxygen to keep all of your tissues healthy, right? You can't have healthy tissue in your joints or in your muscles or your brain anywhere without sufficient oxygen.
I love the term sludge blood. I think it makes sense. So if you have sludge blood, you're healing slower.
Right, yeah.
Which means
you're not healing at all.
And you're in more pain.
Yeah.
So it's a multimodal approach. It's part of the approach.
Yeah.
It can't just be, it's just my knee.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And so one of the interesting things, and you know this, we started selling this product maybe 15 or so years ago, and we started getting these stories from people that we were not expecting when we first started selling the product. And that was like, hey, I bought this and it's really helped my joints, but my eczema went away, right? Or lots of women like, hey, I had uterine fibroids, but I've discharged them and they're gone now, right? Yeah, it helped my joints, but it also solved. So any kind of systemic inflammation type of problem, or any type of systemic problem that is the result of excess fibrin. And there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Fibroids, fibrosis of the organs, right?
Yes.
I heard a doctor a long time ago, Dr. William Wong, he was an early person talking about these enzymes. And he was saying how it's, when we die of old age, what that really means is fibrosis of your organs, right? And I don't think he's right, but it's not all. It's, often when we die of old age, it's the life force has run out.
Yes.
Right. So it's not just this, but he makes a really important point, and it really opened my eyes, because when you are getting older and your life force is decreasing, right? You've got less vitality, less chi, let's say, moving through you. If you've got organs that are covered and congested through webs of this mesh of fibrin,
they have to work
so hard. So hard. But if you're supplementing with proteolytic enzymes and you're keeping that fibrin at bay, those organs can move more freely. They don't have to work as hard. You will very likely live longer. Yeah. So I think I've said this before. It's like the fountain of youth, right?
Yes.
I've in all the years I've been a health researcher, I've never seen anything that makes as many positive impacts in so many different ways. There's lots of amazing health products and breakthroughs, but usually they're kind of singular. Like, hey, this thing's amazing at solving that.
Right.
Right. Like collagen. Right. We've got our My Daily Collagen product. Great. Great product. Right. Collagen is great. Right. It's fantastic. Important for your joints. But that's all it really does.
Right.
Whereas these enzymes do so much in the body, your ability to be healthy, not just be pain-free or have less pain, but
your overall well-being.
Exactly. Yeah. It just improves your overall health.
Yeah. And physiology.
One thing I wanted to bring up that I forgot was the importance of understanding that we're all so very different, right? Like people tend to think there's one way, like somebody has success with a raw food diet. Oh, raw food's the only way to go. If you're not eating raw, you're going to be sick, right? And when the reality is that might work for somebody, absolutely does not work for me.
Right.
I tried that, and within weeks I was feeling terrible.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I've come to realize is we're all very unique beings, even though we're all human and we have the same kind of meat suit, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But even that, like there's differences within the body, right? Like
different shapes, different physiology.
Irregularities in the bones, and so when it comes to the food and the diet part, if people have heard of Ayurvedic medicine, right, they have this concept called the dosha, right? And everybody has like a different constitution, and the different constitution requires a different diet, right? And a lot of the ancient systems have their version of it. Chinese medicine has their version, Ayurvedic medicine has their version, and so on. But I think it's important to mention because, it really drives me crazy, but people who speak about their thing as the only way, right? And it's just, again, it's just a lack of awareness on their part and lack of understanding. But it's important for you guys to know, like, there is no one right way. Many things work, and the key is you finding what works best for you.
I've always liked the statement, your way is the way.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
And it takes a lot of testing. You know, you have to be your own experiment to figure out which person you want to guide you, which foods work for you. Your geographic descendants makes a difference in what foods you can assimilate easier or not.
Right,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, where you're living.
Yeah, or where you genetically come from.
Right.
You know, whether it's Eastern Europe or Asia or South America.
Americans in particular eat a lot of bananas, right? If you're living in America, you really shouldn't be eating bananas.
Yeah, they're not indigenous to America.
No, exactly. I mean, the reason the banana grows where it grows is because in the jungle, people sweat so much. They sweat all the time that they need to replace some of those minerals that are in bananas specifically.
Yeah.
But so that's an example. I thought people are eating not in harmony.
Yes.
Right. And so is there harmony with the seasons you mentioned, but harmony with the geography?
Yeah.
Right. Where are you living and what's the climate there and what's native there? Wanted to also share a quick story, which I don't think I've ever told you, but another really interesting way and useful way to discover more about how you're unique is human design, right? So there's astrology, numerology, all these incredible systems that people have figured out over, thousands of years or millennia to understand humans and understand the nature of the universe. But human design has been a fascinating system for me. And one of the things that I discovered about it in terms of, how to find the right way to eat for your being is, I'll tell the story about my son. So I had human design readings done for all my children. And the guy is doing a reading for my son, Malik. And he says, okay, this boy here, finger food eater, he needs to eat with his hands and he needs to be active or watching other people be active while he's eating in order for him to digest properly.
Interesting.
And I'm like, whoa, because my son eats nothing but salami sticks, chips, right? And like carrot sticks.
Yeah.
As he's walking around the kitchen, right? And I'm like, oh my God, it's driving me crazy, right? When I was a younger parent, raising 8 children, and my son's walking around the kitchen when it's dinner time, I'm like, sit down, you're being rude, you're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
So I was conditioning him to conform to what I thought was normal and appropriate, right? And so we're all conditioned by
normalcy,
society.
Yeah.
And it's taking you away from what's actually in alignment for you. And it literally can affect your health, right? Like this affects his digestion, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, I love that he's walking around the house, and I'm like, that's him doing him, and that's what he needs to do.
That's cool.
To be healthy.
Yeah.
Right. And so I encourage you all to learn more about yourself. I mean, so many benefits, not just better understanding of what to eat and how to eat it and whatever. But like for me, I digest my food best when there's loud music on.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I got to dive into that.
Right? Yeah. No, it's fascinating. I mean, I just love the human design.
Yeah, that's cool.
Other thing I thought about on food was Jeff Primack's Conquering Any Disease book.
Yes.
I was just talking to you about it earlier. It's a fantastic resource. And what he does in it, he has a page on every food. And on that food, he has all of the research about what has been proven about how that food works, right? Like meaning what it does for the body. So let's say you're looking at the page on celery. He'll reference all of the science and the research behind, celery and what it does.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really fascinating to have as a resource. It's great because if you're wanting to improve any particular part of your health,
or considering foods, or looking at foods that you're eating all the time.
So for me, I've got a slightly enlarged prostate, right? And so I'm working to reduce that naturally through taking care of myself. And one of the ways is food, right? So then there's all these, there's a reference at the back. You could look up any health condition at the back, and then he'll reference the various pages.
Which foods?
Yeah, these are the foods that are supportive for a healthy prostate, right?
Love that.
Yeah, so great resource. I wanted to mention that because it's one I've relied on a lot over the years. And then the other is one of my books. They're the Live Pain-Free Cookbook, who I did with a co-author, Tiffany, here in Austin. And it's part cookbook and it's part reference manual. So a lot of the stuff that you and I have been teaching and talking about today and over the years is in the reference part of the manual.
Awesome.
how the body gets out of balance. So it's not just about food, it's about the body and health and balance, harmony. And then there's a whole bunch of recipes that are specifically healthy and geared towards reducing inflammation and to provide you better healing. One other thing was organ meats, right?
Yes.
Just kind of going back to when we talked about enzymes, how they're produced from the pancreas, one of the ways you can get them is through organ meats, eating pancreas, or organ meat supplements, right? Because some people might be like, oh, gross, I can't eat organ meat.
Where can we get organ meats?
Probably most butchers, right?
It's like outside of the regular grocery store, but you got to find a butcher that has the actual organ meats.
Yeah, I think some organ meats are even in the regular grocery store, just not a lot.
Yeah.
I know as a child, I used to love, my father would make chicken gizzards, liver, and hearts, right? So you can get chicken organs in a regular grocery store.
Yeah.
But some of the other animals are better than chickens.
Yeah.
In particular, I think beef pancreas and bison and so on. But you could also get it in the form of supplements. That's how I get most of it.
Okay.
I do have some organ meats, that I have a lady who cooks for me who's fantastic and highly skilled with whipping up fantastic.
Well, you can get it through supplements.
Oh, yes.
Even the protein that I'm taking now is grass-fed beef with organ meats as well.
Oh, so you're doing it in the protein powder.
Correct.
Interesting. Yeah. I thought about that, but I was like, I don't know that I like the sound of that in my protein shake.
It tastes like chocolate and coconut.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to try it.
I haven't really tasted the the organ meats, and it's been working well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah. So that's a fantastic way. It's really important because I think, way back, in time, people were eating all of the animal, right? They weren't having just burgers,
well,
right?
And also making clothing out of it as well.
And tools, right? They used the whole animal and they had reverence for the animal. It's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Most people are so far removed from their food. It's really sad.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage you all to have reverence for your food, not just the people growing it, but for the plants you're eating, the animals you're eating, the life you're eating. You are basically consuming life to stay alive. But anyway, I wanted to mention the organ meats because it's a great way to get additional proteolytic enzymes.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about supplements. We mentioned Heal and Soothe earlier in regard to reducing inflammation and dealing with the issue of fibrin. What are some other supplements that you feel are important to take?
I think, besides collagen, which is one of the products that we have as well, I think that's an important one in addition to the organ meats. Which is a different topic, but I think brain supplements are really important as well. One in particular, DHA, because that's what makes up our synapses and allows our creation of new cellular pathways. But I love the whole field of the nootropics, like things that are helping us increase brain capacity, oxygenation to the brain, creating those new synapses and connections and integration within the brain.
One that comes to mind for me is vitamin D.
Yes.
And I think we talked about this in our prior conversation in the causes discussion, but most people are not getting enough sunlight, natural sunlight.
Yeah.
And it's causing all sorts of problems. And of course,
even sunglasses. I know I'm going to get poo-pooed for that, but because there's a big industry around sunglasses.
Right.
Right. And we're supposed to get natural sunlight because our eyes they're part of our brain. And our brain is required to get vitamin D in sunlight.
Right. In addition to the sunglasses blocking light, people are slathering on all this sunscreen, which is not only blocking the absorption of the sun, which is the life force, right? We talked about energy needed for healing. The ways in which we get energy are food, sun, and air.
Yes.
Right. And so people don't realize that. They think it's just food, right? But it's not. People can go very long periods of time without food.
You're right. Yeah.
30, 40 days. Some people have gone months or longer without food.
Not air.
Right? What's that?
They can't go far without air.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Well, and then we're really talking about the quality of the air that we're breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so with the sun, I wanted to bring that up because most people are not getting enough sun. If you want to heal, get your ass outside into the sun. Don't slather on that chemical sunscreen that's going to cause cancer, right? People are worried about skin cancer from the sun, but they're causing internal cancer of the various organs because they're putting toxic shit on, which not only has chemicals, which are poisonous, right? Cancer-causing chemicals, but it's preventing your absorption of the sun's energy, which is life force and healing, and produces vitamin D, right? And when you have low vitamin D, you have a higher rate of cancer.
Yes.
Right?
And weak bones.
Exactly. Weak bones, everything. Like you're just basically a sick, weak human if you are not getting sufficient sunlight.
Yep.
And I remember years ago when I heard this research that even living in southern states, like we're here in Texas, even in southern states, you cannot get enough sun all year to get it to produce enough vitamin D.
So what does that mean?
Right. You got to supplement, right? Obviously, the more you're in the sun, the less you'll need to supplement.
Yeah.
And you can, build up tolerance. Even the palest, whitest people can build up tolerance, right? But if you've been protecting yourself from the sun with sunscreen and clothing all the time and avoiding the sun, you're likely going to burn at first. So you're going to have to just go out for like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then take a break.
And again, build that tolerance.
Exactly.
Over time. Yeah.
But you can do it, and it's essential. If you don't do it, you will not be healthy. You cannot be healthy without sufficient sun, right? Even if you supplement with vitamin D. But I think the reason I bring it up is it's essential for health and healing. Like vitamin D deficiency is so common.
Yeah.
And it causes you mentioned weak bones. Your immune system can't be healthy and strong and function optimally without sufficient vitamin D. It's why people get seasonal affective disorder during the winter.
Yeah.
They get sad, they get depressed because they're not getting enough sunlight, right? And most people, even people who are taking vitamin D supplements, often still are deficient, right? Because they're taking what it says on the bottle, which is usually not enough. 2,000 IU a day.
It's not even close.
No, like for me personally, just to throw it out there for people as a reference point, I take 10 to 15,000 IU per day, even in the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then you got to check your levels, right?
Yeah.
It's very rare to have too much vitamin D. It's possible.
Do you get them checked through blood tests?
Blood tests, yeah. Yeah, a couple of times a year, usually 2 or 3 times a year. But even personally, even when I was taking 10,000 IU a day, I was still low. Right. So I had to go up to 15 to 25,000 IU for a period of like a week or two and then keep it at 15. Yeah. And so it affects everything, your energy, your immune system, your joints, your bones, disease. Just so if you're not supplementing with it, it's the very first thing. Get your ass in the sun and start taking vitamin D.
And build up a tolerance without sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly. Vitamin D and ideally vitamin with D and K together.
Yep.
But, we talked about proteolytic enzymes. What other supplements? You mentioned collagen. I think when it comes to joint pain, obviously there's other particular ingredients that are good for supporting joint regeneration, right? So I've got some Super Joint here. We've got some on the shelf. I forget how long we've been selling this product, but it's a fantastic product, and we've got multiple things in it. In particular, this one product, this one ingredient, calcium fructoborate.
You had a tough word.
Exactly, yeah. And it goes by the name of Fruity XB, and they have some incredible research on what this does. So many people have probably heard of glucosamine and chondroitin, right?
Of course.
So maybe you guys have heard of that. It is effective for joint regeneration, right? It's proven. But what they found is when they combined this particular type of calcium with it, this Fruity XB, it was 640% better.
Wow.
Yes, that's what I said. 640% better.
That's a
huge impact.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the new ingredients that we put in this. We reformulated this product a couple of years ago. And so it's important to, again, whether you buy this product or somebody else's, it doesn't really matter. I'm not here to sell the product, but to sell the idea and the point, the importance of giving your body the building block materials, right?
And which is in healing food, turmeric, ginger, those things, even putting those in your diet.
Right, exactly,
becomes an important supplement for health.
Exactly,
and anti-inflammation.
Yeah, and the more you can get through natural living, so again, the more sunlight you get versus supplement, the better. The more turmeric and ginger you get in your food, the better. The less you have to supplement. First of all, it's more natural, and 2, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? It's less costly.
Yeah.
If you're trying to repair your joints, you got achy knees and so on, and your body's deficient in these things, you've got to supplement.
I think a general piece that I want to leave our audience with is shop on the periphery of the supermarket. If all of this is too complex for you,
right,
just stay out of the middle aisles. because those are the things with the boxed foods and created products that have way more ingredients. That I used to use like the 2-finger. If the ingredients are longer than 2 fingers, don't eat it.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're on the periphery, an orange has 1 ingredient. Right. Even if, and I'm saying the simplest perspective.
Something else that I was going to mention is MSM. So we've got MSM in here, great for joints. White willow bark. I think when Steve Heffron and I made this product many years ago, as with all our products, I did not want to make a Me Too product, right? Like there was already lots of proteolytic enzyme products out there, right? Yeah. So it's like, if I'm going to make something with that in it, I got to make it better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah.
So how do we make this thing better? So with Heal and Soothe, we added all the herbs, like you mentioned, right? So we took herbal anti-inflammatories, which people had, selling those individually, ginger, turmeric, right, and so on. And then we combined it with the enzymes.
Yeah.
And then even with the enzymes, we didn't just take one type of enzyme. We took 4 or 5 different types of enzymes, right? Because each type of enzyme does a slightly different, breaks down a slightly different protein in a slightly different way.
Yep.
And so same thing with Super Joint, right? It's like, okay, I don't want to do a Me Too joint product. There's a gazillion joint products already. A lot of them are great. You know, if we're going to do it, we've got to make it different and better. And so one of the ways we made this product better is we also added white willow bark, which gives people the instant pain relief. It's nature's aspirin. It's actually literally where aspirin originated from, but they tweaked it so they can patent it.
Okay.
Right. But so anybody who's taking aspirin, if you want the cheaper, safer, more natural alternative, white willow bark.
That's awesome.
Yeah. CBD and CBG. Right. So did I ever share that product with you? It's called Premium Jane.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'll mention this brand because it's a fantastic product. Not my product, but it's a fantastic product. And I had tried lots of CBD. I had heard about its effectiveness, but nothing really, I didn't feel anything. And then I had a friend, and I won't mention her name, but...
It's not Jane.
No, not Jane. But I had a friend who's very, very picky and very cheap, right? And so she did not like spending money, and she was just super picky about everything. Mm-hmm. And she came to me and she said, "You've got to try this product." And I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta listen to her because she never recommends anything." Exactly.
Of course,
And so I tried this product, Premium Jane CBD CBG, and it works incredibly well.
Awesome.
In fact, same thing. I was like, "Well, this product is great. How can I make it better?" So we've got our own product in development that we've been testing for a couple of years now.
Excited for that one.
Yeah. And I gave it to my children and I said, "Here, try this." And my kids almost never try anything. Like it's very, very rare will they'll do anything I say, let alone try any of Dad's experiments.
Yeah.
But one of my kids was feeling hurt and I said, "Here, put this on. This is really working." And I think they were more likely to try it because it wasn't my product.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah,
it's like, my friend had recommended it. And anyway, even my kids were like, "Wow, Dad, that really worked." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, very interesting." So if you guys have tried CBD and it you felt like it didn't work for you, CBD with CBG seems to be really effective
for pain relief.
Yeah, for pain relief.
Awesome.
Yeah,
like topical cream.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a balm, and it's got a fantastic texture and scent. Yeah,
awesome.
It's a great product. Any other supplements that you think we should touch on? I mean, there's so many. I don't want to.
Magnesium typically for sleep.
Yes. Yeah,
and then just cellular function.
Yeah, and just relaxation, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Most people are chronically tense.
Yeah.
Right. And taking magnesium on and not only tense, but most people are deficient in most minerals.
Yes.
We talked about that before. Adding salt to your water as a way to get more minerals. I highly recommend you take a multivitamin, multimineral product, or a product like Trace Minerals or something similar where you're getting the essential minerals kind of in the right combinations.
Yep.
But yeah, magnesium, I take three capsules of magnesium right before bed for sleep. And sometimes I'll take it beyond before bed if I'm feeling any tension or any place where like there's a lack of relaxation and or tension in the body. I'll take a little extra. So yeah, most people are deficient in magnesium. We've got another great book here. We didn't get to talk about it yet, but it's called The Calcium Lie. This one on the end, Robert Thompson. He's got just incredible research and work that he's done about calcium. The book is called The Calcium Lie. This is part 2. But what he found is that most people, what he found is calcium is not as good as we thought. You know how calcium for a long time, it was like, you got to take calcium for strong bones.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And the push for the milk in the milk industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And calcium is, of course, a natural mineral. It's important, but it's not nearly as important as they made it out to be. And so he wrote this book, Calcium Lie. He covers amazing research in it, not just about calcium, but the importance of magnesium. He also talks a lot about vitamin C and real vitamin C versus ascorbic acid, and he's got great research on that.
Awesome.
Also worth looking into. But yeah, so magnesium, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great one for numerous things. Let's talk about the body, right? Obviously, if you've got pain in the body, most people are like, wow, this conversation, they've hardly talked about the body. Well, now we're going to talk about the body.
It's our cherry on top.
Right, exactly. But really, I think the reason we spent so much time on those other things is because they're so important and they're so undervalued or appreciated.
And underutilized too, and also confusing.
Exactly, misunderstood. So let's talk about the body. I mean, you know that 20-something years ago, I think, around the time we met, actually, I can't remember if we met before or after I developed the Lose the Back Pain program.
It was probably right around the same time.
Okay, yeah. So,
because we developed Lose the Neck Pain together.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So one of the things I discovered early on through my own experience with pain. If any of you don't know my story, you can find it in my book, The 7-Day Back Pain Cure, and I've shared it here and there, and won't go into it deep today. Maybe we'll save that for another day. But I had my own experiences with back pain, knee pain. My body was a wreck, right? I was a personal fitness trainer, and I couldn't even work out.
Yeah.
It got so bad. And in that journey of trying to figure out how to fix myself, I was 22 years old, excited about my new career, as a fitness trainer. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be a fitness trainer if I can't work out? How am I going to teach you how to work out? Right. Because I'm so racked with injuries. This is not good. Right. So anyway, through that process of trying to figure out how to fix myself, I discovered what I call muscle imbalances, as you know. And what I found is there's hardly anybody talking about it. Right. There was people like Pete Egoscue, and John Sarno. They were doing different pieces of it. John Sarno with the mind-body connection, Egoscue with some of the physicality, but nobody had really, in common sense, everyday language, explained this concept of how the body gets out of balance. Basically, a lack of harmony.
Yes,
a lack of harmony within the physical structure of the body, right? Specifically within the muscles, and how the muscles affect the joints and the spine, right? And obviously, he's an expert with the spine as a doctor of chiropractic. And I wanted to talk about this because, if you've got joint pain, even if you don't have joint pain, I guarantee you have muscle imbalances. Every one of us has them, right? It's impossible to not have some degree of them. The degree of how severe they are determines how much pain we have.
Yes.
Right.
And how fast the joints, or basically how long they can endure. Exactly.
Before your body starts to break down. And so an analogy I used to use a lot is the car, right? Let's say you're driving in a car and the steering is out of alignment, right? And so the car's constantly pulling to the left. In order for you to keep the car straight, you have to constantly overcorrect to the right, and then the wheels will wear down unevenly, right?
Yes.
And hopefully people are familiar with this. So that steering being out of alignment causes the uneven wear and tear on one side of the tire versus the other. Same thing happens in our bodies, right? So,
well, before you leave that though, what's the typical approach? To change the alignment or to change the tires?
Right, exactly. Yeah, good point. Yeah, most people would just try to change the tire.
Right. And the problem keeps coming back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, fantastic point. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that in there.
Yeah. It's like the same thing as like check engine oil. Check engine oil light comes on, right? So one common solution for that is to take duct tape, and duct tape fixes everything, right? And just put it over the check engine
blinders,
oil. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the muscle imbalances because I think they're so common, and there's such a major physical factor. We've talked a lot about the non-physical body stuff, but there's such a major physical factor for why our joints hurt. Yeah. So I'll give a couple examples. without standing here, but let's just say that I've got overdeveloped quadriceps and underdeveloped hamstrings, right? That's going to create uneven pressure within my knee, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Or I've got really tight hip flexors and really weak glutes. It's going to rotate or pull my pelvis down forward in the front on one side or both, right? Usually not evenly, right? You might even have a twisting. One pelvis is being pulled down in the front, the other one's being pulled back on the other side. And so think about your body as like a marionette, right? Right.
I love that.
A puppet, right? Or Pinocchio, right?
Yes.
Picture if one of those strings is shorter, right?
Yes.
Exactly, right? Exactly. We did the same exact thing. So this is what's happening to our bodies, right? All the time. And there,
even like looking at habitual things, carrying a baby, multiple children one side, or carrying a purse on one side, or even like I used to work on a lot of police officers who would be on their car computers, and every one of them, their posture was imbalanced and twisted in one direction. I was like, why is everyone
dentists
turning to the right? Yeah,
teachers,
chiropractors working from one side of the table.
This is one of the number one physical places to look. Right, we've got the Lose the Back Pain program, which in the title it's about back pain, but it's really a system for self-identifying where you're out of balance and working to bring balance to your muscular structure. Yeah. So that it gets rid of your back pain or any other joint pain in your body. So it's a great resource. If you've got joint pain, I highly recommend it. We've also got the Lose the Neck Pain version of it, which is focused on the neck. But you've got to address the imbalances in the body. You cannot, you could take all the joint supplements you want for your knee, but if you're creating uneven wear and tear in the joint,
on a consistent basis.
I mean, you're going to have limited success. Yeah. And most people do have limited success with supplements for joint pain.
It's a good place to start,
right?
In addition to all the other solutions that we provided,
right?
Like with the nutrition and the mental and the mind and supplements. Yeah. For sure.
I think one of the great things about the muscle imbalance is it's easy to address and it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to go to months of physical therapy. It's literally a couple minutes.
Or a specialist.
You can do it yourself.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
You start to, and this is really important. Most people don't know how they can do this, right? They don't know how they can move their hand from here to here, right? They don't understand how it happens. They just do it and they take it for granted.
Right.
So as you learn a little bit more about how your body works, very basic things, you can start to be more aware and be like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling this muscle's tighter than that muscle. I'm going to stretch this one out a little bit more. But so anyway, point being, 5-15 minutes a day of simple stretches and corrective exercises to bring your body back to balance or closer to balance is, I believe, I don't know what you think, but to me, I think it's the most important thing you could do physically.
My training for the most part was really looking at a global postural position, but looking at like what the head is doing compared to the torso, what the torso is doing to the pelvis looks at the feet. That's how I broke it down. But,
right. Mm-hmm.
But looking at it as an entire imbalance, whether it's activities or injuries or habits, like even what's always been interesting to me is the relationship of all this. Like, let's say I have a milk allergy, right? I'm allergic to lactose intolerant, and it's happened since I was a little kid, but no one even realized it. I'm chronically have sinus problems. Right. So I change my posture because I can't breathe out of my nose.
Right.
So my whole posture starts to adapt. Mm-hmm. That's an imbalance. So I can breathe through my mouth, which is bad for me to begin with. So then it like stacks on other health problems. Yeah. That's
I love that example.
Yeah. So it all plays a role. How I'm sleeping, right? Or I can't sleep because if I lay on my back, I can't breathe out of my nose, and then I get sleep apnea, and then I stress my heart out, and I stress my lungs out. So again, it all stacks on top of each other.
Yeah, fantastic examples of how you would think something totally unrelated, milk allergy, can manifest into this physical.
Right. Yeah. And to only look at it for one cause, one cure, right? Like I'm allergic to milk and I'm getting mucus.
Right.
Or too much mucus.
Or my neck hurts.
Right.
What's wrong with my neck?
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And looking at the reverse way around, like looking at every issue that relates to potentially causing that problem.
Yeah.
Or why it's giving you the sign. Right. So like looking at pain in general is not just, oh, this is the problem. It's really saying, what do I need to look at deeper? I'm easy to bring us off track. So we were talking about muscle imbalances.
That was the highlight of the day, I think, for me. Those are two really good examples of how holistic we are as beings.
Yes.
And how one thing can lead through this cascade. A food-related thing leads to change in your posture.
Yeah.
Right, which leads to this and that and so on. If I were to sum this whole thing up into a single statement, I would say it's about bringing as much balance to all of your being as you can.
Yes.
If you want to heal.
Well, and I'm a huge yes to that. And before we leave movement, I really want to reiterate to our audience that movement is essential. Exercise is optional.
Yeah, I love what you're saying.
When I do training, I don't train. I add some bodybuilding stuff in just for regular strength, but that was based on anatomical design by dissecting a body that's dead on a table.
Right.
Like, in order for me to bend over and tie my shoe or pick up my child from the floor, I don't need to move in 90 degrees and move my elbow down and pick them up and do a bicep curl. It's like, no, it's all tied together with fascia. Fascia in itself can get imbalanced, and you're stuck in these postures or movement patterns. So look, in addition to the imbalances from a static perspective, it's also a dynamic perspective, like how I move consistently in one area or another. Like, same thing, like I can injure my big toe, or I can have an ingrown toenail that causes me to limp chronically. I'm like, no, I don't want to go get it fixed. I'm too tough. Right. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to get my toenail dug out because
a bunion, really a hammer toe, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to change the gait. And it starts in the ankle or in the foot. And then into the ankle. And then into the knee, then into the hip, then into the low back, thoracic spine, neck, jaw.
Harmony or lack thereof. I also think, I mentioned this earlier about how I try to make everything harder. Hardness creates strength. Easiness creates softness, weakness, right? So like
eggs over easy. The yolk is soft.
Right. Yeah. I guess you're right. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. There you go.
Or hard-boiled eggs.
Exactly. But I would just encourage you guys to make things harder. Like, take the stairs, be more physically active.
That comes back to the first thing is commitment. Right? It's like commitment to the courage to make your life a little bit harder to train, to get into the ice bath. It sucks, but
You mentioned fascia. I wanted to come back to that for a second. I just realized, because I think that's another major component, right? Actually, and I got another thing after that, but so fascia is another factor that doesn't seem to be talked about very much.
Not enough.
It's not widely understood, and a major potential variable for people experiencing joint pain. And so, what do you think is most effective for addressing the fascial issue, right? Like, is there a particular modality that you like?
Someone who's trained to understand the fascial patterns, because there are basically fascia, as you know, and some of our listeners may not know, is the encasing that holds the muscles together, but it encases them based on movement patterns. Like, you can look. When I did anatomical studies, the fascia was already removed from the cadaver.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you don't really see how the muscles are connected.
Right.
You only look at the origins and insertions, and that's just inaccurate training, or outdated.
Yeah, misleading.
Outdated, right? Like, so I can look at how, when I step with my right toe, how it affects my left shoulder, because of the fascial connections. Right. Not to even mention the neurological connections. Right? Because fascia has millions of nerve endings in it as well. Right. So as far as you need someone who has training in that, I would say that like a classical massage therapist does not.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And if they're just stretching origin and insertion, meaning like, okay, my hamstring does this, I'm going to just stretch that. No, it's a movement pattern.
Right.
And there are specifically trained fascial people that are trained in different fascial techniques.
Right. Yeah. What do you think about Rolfing?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that it's challenging for the receiver, that it can be painful,
sometimes uncomfortable.
Yeah, but she was looking at movement patterns. Ida Rolf, who created it, was looking more at these pattern distortions or these postural distortions, and applying techniques and opening of the fascia and different muscle patterns together.
Yeah, I had a fantastic experience with Rolfing. I guess about a year or so ago, down in Costa Rica with a master Rolfer and meditation teacher.
Awesome.
He was master of both. And so I was with him for, I think, 7 days meditating every day, several hours. And then he would work on my body too.
Nice.
At the end of each day. And on the last day, he Rolfed me while I was sitting in meditation.
Wow.
So as I was in that posture, he was working the spots that were keeping me from breathing more freely and, keeping that upright posture.
Yeah.
And after that, my body had a big breakthrough. I should say breakthrough, where it was an energetic, emotional, and physical unwinding.
Yes.
So literally, I kind of rolled onto the floor and my body started moving in these weird ways on its own, and I just let it do it.
Yeah.
So it literally was unkinking, right? You know the word kinky, right? As it represents kinks within the psyche and the being.
Yeah.
But we're all kinked in different ways.
Yeah.
And, the kind of kinks I'm talking about are not good. Kinks in the body, whether it's in the musculature or the energetic, the energy body.
Preventing harmony.
Exactly. Yeah. Preventing harmony, preventing freedom, preventing
fluidity.
Flow. Exactly. Yeah. And so that was an amazing experience, and it changed me on multiple levels. So it changed my posture, it changed my energy, it changed my psycho-emotional state. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience. And I would just say that there were moments when it was uncomfortable, but it wasn't all like torture, right? I've had some things that were terrible, like dry needling.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
No, that was brutal.
And some people love it.
Right.
I didn't like it personally for myself. It really,
I feel like
brutal was the right word.
Brutal.
In my experience,
the discomfort and the gains were minimal.
Right.
So I don't feel like I gained
much.
much.
The juice was not worth the squeeze for you.
No, not at all. I wanted to mention a couple other things. So I love Rolfing, obviously, after this experience.
I know you've had a great experience with MAT.
I was just going to, what I was going to bring that up. Yeah, muscle activation therapy or technique. It was developed by, I think it's Greg Roskopf or something like that.
Because there's another one, Aaron Mattis, but that may be Mattis technique. I don't know if that was him or Matt's.
But if you just look up muscle activation technique, there's actually a video podcast I did with Brandon O'Connor, who's here in the Austin area and is expert at that modality, and some others. I've gone in, for instance, with various times where once I had, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I had this shoulder was like here.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't get it like as far as it could go. And he has me on the table. And he's doing his thing. He doesn't touch my upper body at all. He works on my, if I remember correctly, it was my feet and my knees and maybe my hips a little bit. And then he retests. Boom.
Yeah.
Right. So my shoulder was stuck here and it had nothing to do with my shoulder.
Right.
It was all down here.
Yeah.
Right. All
That's
in the
amazing.
lower body. And in an hour, in less than an hour, he was able to fix something that, if I would have went to a traditional doctor or even maybe your average chiropractor, they may or may not have got me, back to that. And so I think the muscle activation is fantastic. It works incredibly well. And just a brief explanation of how it works is we've got muscles everywhere. Some of them get turned off. This is my terminology. They probably got better, technical language, but this is how I try to explain it. He did something once with my hand, my fingers. I had been doing martial arts and punching the heavy bag, and I must have turned off some of the muscles in the above the finger joints here, and it was throwing off the rest of my body. So, but he didn't touch anything over here. He just worked on the fingers, and boom, the rest of it was fixed.
That's awesome.
But so we got these muscles, they get turned off. Sometimes it could be from like blunt force impact or straining, or the biggest one is emotional stress and worry. Somebody goes through a divorce or is grieving the loss of a loved one. The mind-body connection is strong, and emotions can be very strong, and they can throw some of these muscles off.
Well, and even also things that have been physically injured that didn't necessarily take place.
Right.
They may be weaker or more susceptible when you get that emotional trauma. It attacks those weaker areas in the body or settles in those weaker areas.
So what they do, it's really simple, is they find through kind of this diagnostic muscle testing, they're checking to see which muscles are firing and not firing. They find the ones that are not firing, and then they just rub, right? So in the case of the finger, he just rubbed a few spots, right? Rubbed a few spots and then retested it. Boom, it's back on. All of a sudden,
you're back
full
to
range of motion. Yeah. So to me, that's a fascinating and incredibly effective modality. It's not widely known. That's why I wanted to kind of talk about it and give it a bit of an explanation.
Can't go without talking about chiropractic.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Well, and for the listeners out there, there's just as many brands as there are in any product. There's that many techniques in a chiropractic world. So it just requires you finding the one that works best and fits for you. There's more structural based techniques. There's more energetic based techniques,
right, like
but there's
network chiropractic is more energetic.
More energetic. The work that my focused career when I was directly practicing was a technique called chiropractic biophysics, which is more based on structure and posture and rehabilitation of that, and then everything in between. So chiropractic is way more than just cracking joints. Right. So like when you're seeing people on TikTok and Instagram, right. and the chiropractors are doing that. In my opinion, they're not necessarily doing the best for the profession because. Right. Yes, as in my kids' generation, they say the noise is satisfying. But right. I mean, I like those type of adjustments, but some of them don't work as well for me anymore. Right. As I've aged and the joints have become, I need more proteolytic enzymes right. To get rid of all the excess fibrin in there as well, or up my doses. But there's just a wide variety of things. I think the key is to have some sort of body work, and it's just like people ask me, like, when do I go to a therapist, like a psychotherapist? Mm-hmm. If you're alive, if you're human, right? It's like, when do I get body work? If I'm human,
right? Exactly.
If we wait till we're injured,
right?
It's so much harder for the practitioner and the body to heal. It's like, I've been adjusting my kids since they were born.
Yeah.
They came out of the womb and I was working on them immediately.
That's beautiful.
With my pinkies and fingers.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So, and I've worked on a lot of babies, even in utero, breech babies. I don't do this technique myself specifically, but there's a breech turning technique, and sometimes it works. Sometimes, there's other restrictions that are there, but there's so many things that are out there, that, using these modalities preventatively is what we're under gravity, and we can either win or at least have a longer game with gravity or a shorter game.
Yeah.
And all these techniques play a role in that.
I love what you said before. I think the key is to use these as supportive measures, not reactive measures, right? So I don't even like to say the word preventative because people then want to avoid it.
I love that. Supportive.
But supportive is like, I go see Brandon O'Connor at Muscle Activation.
Even if you're not hurting, right?
Every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go once a week or every other week consistently for years.
Yeah.
Even when everything's fine.
Yep.
To keep the body tuned, right? Keep the body in alignment, keep the body balanced, keep those muscles on and firing, ideally working the way they're supposed to.
Yep. I got that a lot when I was, heavy into clinical practice. People were like, "Oh, you're going to sell me to come in for the rest of my life?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right. Yeah.
Because you should.
Right. Exactly.
Because do you have a spine?
Exactly.
It's like a dentist. The dentist industry did it great.
Right.
They said, floss and brush the teeth that you want to keep.
Right.
And for me, I used to tell my patients, adjust and move the body parts that you want to keep.
Yeah, that's great.
Or move the body parts that you want to keep.
I worked with a great chiropractor here in Austin years ago. He's no longer around, unfortunately, he passed. But if I remember, Steve Berman, he was a kooky, eccentric chiropractor, but he was amazing. And what I loved, and the reason I'm bringing him up now, and there's a video I have on our website, losetobackpain.com. If you type in Steve Berman chiropractic care, you'll find it. And it's a fascinating video. But he had all these old books about the history of chiropractic. And when you went and you saw him, he basically said, look, modern chiropractic, and not that you shouldn't keep coming frequently, like you said, because you've got a spine. But he said the original chiropractic care was developed to help people who had injuries. And he said where it was developed in the, I believe it was late 1800s, right here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And or at least he was telling the history of it here in the U.S. And what he was saying is people would travel by wagon for days or weeks to go get help, right? They got a kink in their neck and they can't get it out, right? And their partner or whoever, somebody gets them finally to the small town and the chiropractor's there.
Yeah.
he or she, the chiropractor, had to help them resolve that issue
immediately
in one session, right? Or they had to stay in town for a couple of days, but like they couldn't go back every week for 6 months, right? And so the approach to the chiropractic treatments during this time, the way they approached it was very much, I'm going to treat the whole body. And so that's what he would do. You went in for a session, he adjusted every joint in the entire body, every session.
Love that.
Including even the face. Like he used the balloons where you put a balloon up and pump the air.
Nasal specific. Yeah, yes, that's awesome.
And it was incredibly effective. And I really liked that approach because it was
full body treatment.
Exactly. Getting the whole body balanced. Not just going in and fixing, oh, well, this is out, this one vertebrae's out. Again, not that that can't work. I'm not poo-pooing that, it works.
No, I love that.
But approach. That was really eye-opening to see that approach. Like that was the history of chiropractic, but it's kind of been lost. And so he was kind of one of those people who were like holding on to that approach. So chiropractic, Rolfing, massage, craniosacral therapy.
I even say I love the way that where I've seen physical therapy evolve, because physical therapy evolved from orthopedic medicine, which is like, okay, we'll just support surgery but there's a tremendous amount of where it's become more functional, especially especially in the world of athletic performance, and where muscle imbalances can affect athletic performance or just everyday performance. But I think it's really taken a cool turn in evolution.
I've noticed that too. I was noticing how, because you've probably experienced this. Many of you watching have probably experienced this. But I went through physical therapy when I was experiencing all the injuries that I had when I was younger, and of course, it didn't work. It was,
it's just very cookie cutter.
Right. It was generic. Oh, do this, for an hour, and then I'll come back and then ride the bicycle.
But as we've discussed this entire conversation, it's not a one size fits all solution,
right?
Or one cause, one cure.
But you're right. It's really involved, and they've been taking things from other places like muscle balance therapy, muscle activation, massage techniques, and they've been blending it, which has been great. I wanted to mention a couple other things. Acupuncture can be great. Acupressure, even self-acupressure. We've got videos on our website too you can check out where you could do self-acupressure for various parts of the body specific to where your joints hurt.
I love acupuncture myself. I'm a big fan. Even for just full body treatment, not just specific injury per se.
Yeah, just one quick.
And there's different styles of acupuncture too. So it's not just like, it's a Japanese art, it's Chinese art, it's, and there's so many different approaches to it.
Like the example you gave about milk allergy leading to postural problem, leading to neck pain, so on. What's great about acupuncture is, and acupressure is, oftentimes the physical problems we're manifesting and experiencing are energetic too. And so, things like modalities like that are good at addressing the energetic channels of the body, getting the energy flowing again. So it's more in harmony.
That's like a good finish right there.
Right? Harmony. It's always about harmony, people.
Yes.
Harmony.
Balance.
Yeah, well, awesome. Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
I always love these conversations, and
likewise.
They're
thank you.
Energizing and exciting, and I enjoy sharing, and I enjoy learning from you every time. Every time we talk like this, I get something. And
same, man.
Yeah,
it's healthy energy. Yes, it's energizing good use of our resources. So.